morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to European Talent Mobility Forum and our virtual tour series, where today we're digitally all flying to Turku in Finland. My name is Morten King-Grubert, and I'm with Future Place Leadership. We are the co-founder of European Talent Mobility Forum, which is an organization dedicated to go above and beyond in welcoming international talent to our regions and our societies. And in doing so, sharing best practices and principles across Europe on how cities, regions, and countries, places can really do this at the very best of their capabilities. Now, we have an exciting event ahead of us, and I am privileged to be part of this, and I am just simply in awe of all the great things happening in Turku, which you'll get to experience now. So with no further ado, welcome all, and I give the word to the great team Turku.
Good morning, everyone, and hello from Turku. Huge thank you to all of you for joining us here this morning, and thanks as well to Morten for such a warm introduction. We'll try and live up to these expectations. My name is Jonathon Murphy. I am a research assistant at the University of Turku, and I'll be moderating today's event. Perhaps you can tell from my accent that I am not a native Turkulainen. I'm originally from the UK, but Turku has been my home now for the past 4 years, and I'm delighted and thrilled that we can share some of our stories and successes with you, especially because I know that for a lot of people, Turku is perhaps somewhere that you're not overly familiar with. Hopefully, by the end of the next 90 minutes, we will change that. So that's my introduction, and now it's your turn. We would love for you to get involved today using the chat function. Please introduce yourselves, maybe say where you are coming from today, where you're listening from, and also maybe what you've had for breakfast. I know that for some of you with the time difference, it's a little bit early, so we do apologise for that. And I don't want to make anyone jealous, but we've just enjoyed an amazing breakfast spread backstage here in the studio. There's a lot to get through today. We have an amazing programme. We first will have a keynote speech from Pipa Turvanen, who will talk about talent boost initiatives at the national level. And following this, we will have 2 roundtable discussions based on local activities here in Turku on talent attraction and talent retention. I would really like to say that it's a lovely sunny day here in Turku, but unfortunately that's not the case. It's rather wet. But never mind, we have our woolen socks on, a Finnish tradition. So if you wonder why some of our panelists are wearing these are keeping us warm and dry today during the event. Before we get started then, I would now like to pass to Anna Kivinen, who will give a welcome from the City of Turku. Anna.
Thank you, Jonathon. So good morning or good early afternoon, everybody. My name is Anna Kivinen, and I work as a part of this Talent Turku team here in Turku and Southwest Finland. And as you all know, we've done talent attraction only for a couple of years here in Turku and Southwest Finland, and it's been a great pleasure to be a part of this European Talent Network because we've learned so much from all of you guys. But today it's our turn to host you as guests here, so welcome to Turku and let's have a nice day.
Thank you, Anna. And now we move to our first speech of the event, and I would like to welcome to the stage Pipa Turvanen, who is a senior specialist at the Finnish Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment, and her topic today is the Talent Boost programme and activities at the national level. Pipa, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much and good morning on my behalf as well. So my name is Pipa Turvanen and I come from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment of Finland. I'm very happy to be here, not just because of the fact that it was about 2 years ago that I had a first chat about European Talent Mobility Forum, and I'm happy to see the development of this network. But also in general, I'm a huge fan of deepening European level collaboration in making our continent more attractive to international talents globally. So yes, thank you very much for having me here. I will give you an update on recent development when it comes to increasing talent migration to Finland. And I will start my presentation with a few words about COVID-19. Obviously, for us all, the pandemic has been major disruption, but there is the positive and the future perspective here as well. Although COVID-19 at some point stopped international mobility, discussion around necessity of making Finland more attractive to international talent has been active, and the discussion has taken place also globally. Obviously, in this case, one also has to mention the border restrictions that have been very tight here in Finland during COVID-19. We have been able to secure inflow of those needed for securing supply in Finland, and also there has been inflow of talent to Finland, but the amounts have been rather small, especially when it comes to experts. And although the traffic restrictions have been necessitated in order to protect public health, they have witnessed widely the interconnectedness of cross-border labor mobility in a whole new way, and of course, this has also brought new perspective to our work in the field of international talent attraction and retention. These two articles demonstrate the sort of, if one can say, the positive sides of COVID-19. Finland has been able to benefit from the aspects of providing safe and secure and well-functioning society during COVID-19 era. These two articles are from the National Broadcasting Agency, and they are about international talent families who have returned or moved to Finland and have noticed that Finland as a secure place where you have one of the best possibilities in the world to raise your family and at the same time pursue a career. Finland provides the tools and the base, very good base for international talent, and And also leaders of major businesses in Finland have estimated that Finland in future will benefit from the key competitive advantages that it has already now in international talent attraction and retention. And obviously, developing a workforce fit for a modern knowledge economy, it's not just something that Finland is doing. It's a strategic goal for governments worldwide, as we all know. As Anna said about Turku, the talent attraction and retention perspective hasn't been on board in the key activities for that long time, and of course same applies to the national level activities. Historically, Finland is a country from where you move out, but over the past few decades and moreover over the past few years, the inflows have increased, and Finland has also drafted a national level program to increase flows of international talent to the country. And it's not just about attracting newcomers. It's also about making sure that the potential and the expertise that the internationals that are already here in Finland can provide to the economy, to the society, is utilized. And then of course there is a lot of work to do when it comes to making our work life more inclusive. It's not just about companies. This also concerns higher education institutions and innovation organizations. So apologies for this slide. It's full of text, and probably it's something that it's better that it functions better when you read it by yourself after this event. But this sort of tries to cover the overall goals for international talent attraction and retention. Where the goals are to make Finland more attractive place to work, study, carry out research, and set up a business. Also, as mentioned, making it having more companies to hire international talent, and then thirdly also so that we should utilize more of the expertise of international talent in order to increase internationalization of the business life, higher education institutions, and innovation institutions as well. And we have strong emphasis on cross-sectoral collaboration, and also we focus on multi-level governance. Also, for the first time, we are drafting a long-term plan for education and work-based immigration. Roadmap to 2035 is under preparation and will be released early autumn this year. For this purpose, we already got a new framework from the governmental mid-review negotiations, where it was decided that Finland will increase inflow of work-based immigration by 2030, so that we will at least double the amount of inflow. In addition, it was decided that intake of new triple the intake of new international degree students by 2030. So now, for the first time in governmental program, we have a goal to increase work-based immigration, but also now we have quantitative targets for this work. As said, Finland does not possess a long track record and history in international talent attraction and retention, but in order to speed up, we have focused a lot on ensuring that all the relevant stakeholders are involved. It's not just about the ministry drafting new policies, ensuring that legislation is in place, for example, to secure smooth processing of permits for the newcomers and those willing to stay here. For example, international degree students after they get their degree. We need to work very closely together. We are a small nation and we are very dependent on each other. And as said, it's not just about cross-sectoral collaboration, it's also about multi-level governance. With these words, thank you very much again, also on my behalf, for joining this event. Yes, very best of luck for the future of the European Talent Mobility Forum. Thank you very much.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you to Pipa for such an engaging and informative presentation. We now have some time for a Q&A, so please do add your questions to the chat. I have the laptop here, and I will try and pick up as many as we can in the time. But maybe to start with, Pipa, the last couple of slides there, you were talking about the need for a working ecosystem here in Finland, and how it's not the case that the ministry can do a kind of top-down approach. I was wondering if you could maybe elaborate a little bit on the relationship the national agency has with individual cities, because I know that there are various talent boost activities happening across different cities here in Finland, including Turku. And how have you found kind of working with them and addressing, I guess, their different needs and different industries?
Yes, the talent hub collaboration that takes place and implements the Talent Boost program in local and regional level is sort of the core of this work. And of course, we have the sort of steering structure for the Talent Boost program, where we have representatives from key ministries, but also representatives from the biggest cities in Finland, and also from higher education institutions, and then also from labor market organizations. And for example, just yesterday we had a special theme seminar for the steering group of Talent Boost program, covering all these different stakeholders, where we together drafted the roadmap for 2035. And so in this sense, it's practical. Of course, there is also the question of allocating resources from national level to local and regional level. This is this does not cover only resources from our ministry, but for example, today the Ministry of Education and Culture, which is co-coordinating the program with our ministry, for example, they are allocating significant resources to higher education institutions throughout the country in order to implement, also for them to implement the program. And from the very beginning, the collaboration has been very, how to say, it's been. It has been. We have done it without major hierarchies, which is the culture here in Finland, and it applies to the Talent Boost program as well. When I first started working with the international talent attraction and retention, I was doing it from here, from Turku, from local level, and from the day one, regardless whether it was about working with the ministry or with Business Finland, organization that has a major role in the national level activities. Since day one, the collaboration has been open and inclusive.
Great, that's really good to hear. Thank you. Thank you, Pipa. I think we have maybe a couple of questions coming in on the chat. Thank you very much to Teresa. I think, so you're talking about what Pipa was just saying about how Finland as a country has a strategy to attract and retain international talent, and I guess the development of this is maybe something new for Finland. And Pipa, you mentioned about how these strategies have specific numerical and quantitative targets. And I guess from the national level, do you find that having this target and something to work towards, it makes it easier perhaps to kind of, I guess, sell the benefits of this to the stakeholders, having these kind of bespoke targets? Is that something that you agree with?
Well, yeah, but I can say that in Finland we have a strong consensus when it comes to the necessity to promote international talent attraction and retention. As I said, it's not just about the demographic challenges and in order to secure workforce fit for the economy. It's also about those aims and goals concerning our need to make our society and especially our companies and working life more international. But obviously there's both quantitative and qualitative targets that we have for this work they also give a good boost to all of us who are working with the program. Of course, we have to think about the legal aspects, legislation. We have to think about the service system that we have for this purpose, and then of course the administration, and then of course make sure that the roles are clear and that the service pathways are customer oriented, if you can say it like this. So yeah, I think we have clear and also yes, ambitious in Finnish scale, ambitious framework for this work.
Thank you. That's a really comprehensive answer, and I often feel that from an outsider looking in, Finland does seem to be very kind of hot on future strategy, and I know that at the University of Turku there's the Finland Futures Research Centre, and I think there's a parliamentary committee for the future as well, so I think that relationship that Finland has with the future is perhaps something that other countries can learn from. We have another question here from Morten. Thank you, Morten. Which states that Finland is perhaps a forerunner in how places can attract talent. However, a lot of places are active in this field and going after the same target group of perhaps STEM professionals. and I guess software development as well. It's something that often comes up in these conversations. So Pipa, how do you feel that Finland stands out internationally, and what would be the kind of the sales pitch perhaps for talents who are thinking about moving overseas? What can Finland offer them? That's a big question.
Well, yeah. Well, the key selling points for Finland, as I mentioned in my presentation, of course, are the well-functioning welfare state, and especially the services for families. Of course, I could go through the list of I mean, in global scale, of course, clean water, air, and the safest food in the world are sort of to some extent something that we take for granted, and not always do we remember to mention these as said, in a global scale, very good, very I mean, excellent selling points. But of course, according to country branding surveys, of course, we are very similar with other Nordic states, very similar with some other OECD countries. And sometimes it's not even a need to stand out. As mentioned, I'm a big fan of European Union or European level collaboration, and I think we should deepen the collaboration so that we can make European Union more attractive. And sometimes you don't need to stand out. I think more we should consider on how we could work more together.
Okay, thank you. I think there's definitely plenty of reaction coming in. I think as a comment, perhaps Teresa from Norway has said that it's interesting the kind of contrast with in Norway where the regions and towns have their kind of specific talent attraction. It's perhaps not so much of a political theme at the national level, which is kind of an interesting contrast. Maybe we can talk a little bit about thinking about the ecosystem still and the companies themselves. And I guess in these talent attraction campaigns, at the end of the day, it's often the companies that have to have the available jobs for international talents. How have you found the reception from companies in Finland? Do you feel that the Finnish working culture is something that currently welcomes international talent, or is there perhaps a little bit more work to be done in that regard?
Well, yes, there is a lot to work on still when it comes to making Finnish working life more international and more inclusive to international talent, and actually the government has set up a program which is specifically targeted to the companies in this perspective, and this is also something that we are doing for the first time. Yes, and to some extent, one can say that we also have two parallel realities. So to some companies and or maybe some sectors, having international talent is everyday life, just business as usual, and then there are fields and there are employers where they're thinking whether to take the first steps or still see that to hire someone who doesn't have Finnish or Swedish as a working language is not an option at all. But we are trying to promote. And we're not doing this just as a government. There are all the talent boosters around Finland, all the talent hubs, and also, for example, the major industry organizations have started promoting the benefits of multicultural and inclusive workplaces, and so a lot of work is still to be done, but to some extent we also have these parallel realities that are quite different from one another in everyday life.
Of course, and I think it's great to hear that that's been kind of taken into account. And I know as a kind of an international migrant myself here, that often we all know that the Finnish language is sometimes particularly difficult, especially for those of us from the UK, where languages are perhaps not a priority. And I recall when I first came here, I ended up effectively in a classroom for the first few months that was very useful, but a very strange experience for me coming in as a kind of 27-year-old back to kind of learning in the classroom. So it's good to hear that kind of culture is changing a little bit. I think, do we have any other questions? Yes, Martina, thank you very much for your question from the International Citizen Hub in Lund. And it's a very simple one. What are the keys to your success, do you feel? What are the keys to the success, I guess, of Finland in its talent attraction so far? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Well, yeah, of course, to measure the success when it comes to the goals that been set on national level, of course, that still remains to be seen. But when it comes to success so far, I think it comes back to the approach that we have taken, as said from the day one, that we are all in this together, and that as a small nation we depend on each other, and of course we have been able now to bring all the relevant stakeholders around the same table, whether it's about inclusive work life, in order to make a change so that international talent moving to Finland does not have to climb down the career steps, but instead can start from the same point as everyone else, or the same ladder, and then of course when it comes to the client-oriented approach to providing public, but also services from the private sector, in order to bring all the stakeholders together so that they can they can provide the services and the service entities or the pathways, so that the customer is in the core. Of course, that's something that we are working very, very hard, and yes, I suppose the culture of not having high hierarchies also in such development work as international talent attraction and retention is a success factor. So. Yeah, but yes, as said, when it comes to the goals that has been set, it's still too early to say whether we have succeeded or not. But I guess we can come back to this question from this perspective in a few years' time.
Great, thank you. I think what you said there is really important about this kind of client focus, and I guess from my perspective as an international talent who's been here for a number of years, it's nice to see that there's a kind of there's a destination almost, and we can talk a little bit more about this later in the panel discussions about the Turku activities, but I find that from when I arrived here in 2017, there are so many more events and projects and different networking opportunities for international talents, and I think that will only increase over the next few years, and that's something really important as well. I think we're getting towards the end of our time here now. I will just see if anything else has come from the chat. At the start of your presentation, you talked a little bit about COVID, which I guess is something that every city at the moment is having to deal with. And I like the fact that you acknowledged its kind of issues, but kind of there was a positive aspect as well with the idea of talent retention and the idea that there are people existing here in Finland now who have perhaps maybe been overlooked or not given that opportunity in the past. So perhaps the last comment, maybe very briefly, could you talk a little bit about the retention services at the national level and how you identify those people who are perhaps overlooked in the past.
We, as in the Talent Boost program, we have set a policy target when it comes to, first of all, providing ideally a one-stop shop type of services for the very beginning of the stay and right after you have entered the country. So the International House Helsinki, which gathers together several service providers, has now has given a great example to other bigger cities in Finland, and also now in Tampere, International House was opened, and it's not just about offering the services for the settlement. The service portfolio is increasing all the time, both in Helsinki and Tampere, and I was also happy to hear that in Turku there will also be an International House. And when it comes to more of the integration part of the retention, of course, the program that I mentioned that tries to aims at increasing inclusiveness in work life is of course relevant from this perspective. Also, the spouse programs, new spouse programs. There is a program called Hidden Gem, which was a sort of a forerunner in this sense in Finland from Tampere. This aspect is also becoming more and more important, and it's not just about bigger cities. It's also a relevant activity for the smaller regions and cities, and then of course taking into account the whole family when doing service design and thinking about the overall pathways, then that is of course something where we are putting a lot of effort. But yes, to make the work life more inclusive and get more employers ready to hire international talent. So those are the biggest targets from the retention perspective.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I think we've reached the end now of the Q&A for this section. So a huge thank you, Pipa, for your time, your expertise, yes, we hope to hear from you again soon. Now we move towards the roundtable discussion, which will be talent attraction activities here in Turku. But beforehand, we're just going to show you a short film about the Talent Call 2019, one of our campaigns that we ran here in the city. So please enjoy, and we'll see you after this. and welcome back. This is the start of our first roundtable discussion today on talent attraction activities in Turku. I've also been informed that unfortunately we might be having a few technical issues, so I do apologise for that, but we will have the recording of the session which will be available to you all afterwards. So if you've missed anything, don't worry, you can catch up later on. I'm now delighted to welcome to the stage really the kind of dream team of Talent Turku here and the campaigns that we've been running. So we have Janina and we have Ville from Turku Science Park, and we also have Nuppu from the City of Turku. So welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Again, please keep your questions coming in the chat, and we'll try and get through as many as we can in this session. But Janina, maybe we can start with yourself. So Turku has been doing quite a lot of talent attraction kind of activity and campaigns really in the last couple of years alone. And maybe you could say a little bit about why you consider these campaigns to be so important.
Yeah, definitely. Like many of you know, maybe Pipa even mentioned that Finland hasn't been doing this talent attraction work or campaigning for a long time, only a couple of years. And we know that a lot of regions have been doing this for decades. So when we started the Talent Boost work in Turku a couple of years ago, we decided that we have to do something big just to put ourselves on the map, because even Finland is quite unknown abroad as a place to come and live and work. We've been doing the tourism side of the campaigning and attraction, but not about Finland being a good place to have your career and all of this. So in Turku we started really with a minor campaign called Talent Turku, with minor not of course. We wanted to be ambitious and we wanted to do something new, and of course we benchmarked a lot about other regions and what they had been doing regarding talent attraction campaigns. And I know a lot of had these really successful career contests, and we wanted to try something else, something like this, but to add our own flavor to it and add the Finnish way of what we want to show from Finland, and that's the family side. So we did a call for talents in several different fields, and 6 of those talents won a week-long trip to Turku, but we also invited their families to join us. So that was our part, and it was really exciting to be there with did we have 7 kids or something?
The future of Turku, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that family aspect is so important, and certainly as someone who moved here as an international spouse, and you know, the family was something that we were definitely looking at when we were thinking about moving here. So this is the kind of the big picture, I guess. Maybe we can now drill down into the smaller picture and the kind of day-to-day running of some of these campaigns. Ville, perhaps you would like to say something about kind of the practical element of the campaigns, and how have you found managing the campaigns, and what are the different aspects that you have to consider when running a talent attraction campaign like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all about figuring out who you're talking to and what you want to say. So essentially it all begins with figuring out the right demographics, and that stems from our cooperation with companies in the region and what the region needs, essentially. So with Talent Call, for example, it was more global. We wanted to make a big splash, so to speak. So that was a big focus internationally. But then we did the Happy Pro campaign, for example, this year, and due to various circumstances, we were on a more Europe-specific demographic for that, targeting, for instance, the various hotspots of ICT expertise that Europe has. And so it varies a lot depending on what the region needs and wants. And another cool example is the Tech Summer Trainee campaign, in which we focused on talents already here much more, and we did that last year, and that was about attracting essentially trainees to work in Turku region companies for the summer, which again shows that it's not all just about location, but it's also about different levels of education, about different industries, expertises that might be needed. So that's really how we aim for that kind of variety and that formidable approach. And what we do, we've figured out a kind of a tone of voice that seems to track well with our audiences, and that's in our content, whatever we do, our newsletter, our website, the social media stuff for these campaigns and otherwise. We aim for a tone of voice that's casual, that's positive, that inspires people, and most of all, that's authentic. So we want to keep our kind of what we say. We want to keep it focused on the experiences of international talents who've kind of done their share and who've all kind of moved to the region, and we emphasize that human aspect in everything we do. And it's very easy to stay positive because everyone's excited about the region, and so for that reason we've done testimonials and from talents, and we've kind of all of our social media posts, for instance, emphasize this aspect of things. And that's also ties into what we want to say. So we, for instance, with Happy Pro, we emphasize these binaries that the Southwest Finland has. You know, we have future-oriented companies doing high-tech stuff and great career opportunities, but we also have like wonderful nature right outside your back door. So these are the kind of things that really, for instance, with Happy Pro, we managed to kind of almost triple our the average CTR for Facebook ads and so on. So it's been very, very well received in our demographics. Okay. And we also want to kind of tie this into whatever we do, because Finland is a relatively tiny country, and so we often tie our visuals, for instance, to the general Finnish brand marketing that's been done. For instance, the blue and the white color palette is very familiar to many, because we want to be there also helping in general Finland kind of improve the awareness about how great a place this is, yeah. But always with the regional angle.
Great, thank you. It's really interesting to kind of hear how you are effectively kind of like branding and rebranding the city of Turku for these campaigns and to attract a wider international audience. So maybe we can bring in Nuppu from the city of Turku. From your perspective, how have these campaigns helped with the city branding of Turku, and how do your two groups, I guess, the city and the campaigns, kind of interact with each other when it comes to branding Turku and making it an attractive destination for international talents?
Well, like you mentioned about the family, and that's a very important part of the branding as well, because it's not only to provide this interesting job, but we really need to get the whole family attracted to Turku. And as been said many times, Turku on a world scale is a relatively small country, so we really needed to focus on things like safety and nature and the good services that we can provide. So really it's all about bringing out the quality of life. And so we really wanted to emphasize the fact that Turku can not only offer these interesting job opportunities, but also we have this small city lifestyle that can be really appealing to families. Everything is close, everything is easily accessible, and of course, like being said, we're surrounded by the beautiful nature and the world's most beautiful archipelago, as we say. And another thing, cooperation has been mentioned, and that was also key in branding, especially in the case of Happy Pro, where all the 5 cities of Southwest Finland joined forces to do this common digital marketing campaign. So instead of each city going out on their own with their own brands competing against each other, we really wanted to find out what we have in common. And of course, all the cities share the same quality of life. The differences come from the job sectors and the job opportunities. And we really wanted to create a common message, which is also linked to the Finnish brand. So we wanted to base the message on the idea of Finland being the happiest country in the world, which is actually true for the third time in a row. I don't know, is it 4 already? 4 already, oh yeah, 4.
Keeps on going.
4 times already, we are the happiest country in the world. So that's how we linked the characteristics of each city and the specialities, the job opportunities of each city to the whole local brand and to the country brand as well. So basically the branding is not only about branding the city, but it's about branding the whole region and also contributing to the Finnish brand of Finland as well.
Great, thank you. And yeah, I guess this relationship you have between kind of like the national agency and kind of other cities in Finland, it's kind of nice to see that everyone's sort of pulling in the same direction, and there's not so much of a kind of rivalry, perhaps. I know that, unfortunately, from an international perspective, when people think of Finland, I think there's kind of Helsinki at the bottom and Santa Claus at the top, and there's maybe not a huge amount of information in between. So you mentioned a couple of things about what makes Turku. I guess the archipelago is a great example. Are there any other elements of Turku life specifically that you've been trying to bring out in these campaigns?
Well, we always go, like I think Ville mentioned, with the people who are already here and the internationals and their families. So we've actually dug out those key messages from them and use a lot of stories and testimonials from the people already here. And I think they bring out the best that we have, because it comes from the heart. But all of these things that have come up, I think, are the ones that they're safe. You can have the best education and your children's best education that's available in the world, even maybe. And this kind of like small city life and everything is close by, and we're the oldest but the boldest city in Finland also. So a lot of history here. Soon we have the 800th birthday of Turku, so it's going to be an interesting year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think certainly the kind of the mention about the child education as well. And as someone who didn't have a child when I moved to Finland and now does have a child, I've been kind of really very surprised in a good way about the sort of the childcare system here and some of the differences perhaps with certainly my own country, with the UK, in terms of kind of what is offered for children and how much it costs, especially. Ville, you were talking about the testimonials. Maybe you could give a little bit of examples of the type of testimonials you've been gathering, and also is there somewhere online that the audience can find these testimonials easily?
Yeah, certainly we'll put a link to the chat. I mean, we do compile these on our YouTube channel, Turku Business Region, and we've done we run the gamut on this stuff. I mean, a particular favorite of mine is from Renotech, from Ottolani Sakeya. We interviewed him, and his expertise in clean tech really coupled well with his family and his love for his family and the region, and wanting to also improve the region and kind of secure the future and help kind of like climate change and all this stuff. It comes up in his work, and it's kind of all present in that. And then we also have new things we kind of we learn about the region as we do these testimonials. For instance, with Natasha's Cult, we learned that there's a lot of game industry talents in the region who are superbly talented and doing like innovative work in that area.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see, and we're happy to see that a lot of these talents, they have had the whole experience, so to say, because we have 6 amazing universities in Turku also. And a lot of these, for example, Ottolani has a PhD from the Åbo Academy, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And now he's working in a company in Turku. So
yeah, great to see that kind of continuity and kind of graduates enjoying it so much here that they do want to stay, and we will be speaking with a couple of people in the next panel about that very issue. I think we're coming to sort of the end of this section here. We do have a question in the chat from Morten. Again, thank you, Morten. How do you feel the decision-making factors of the target groups have changed following the pandemic? Is there any kind of differences now between the campaigns you've been running compared to, I guess, the Talent Call 2019, where it was great to have people in person? Kind of, what are the main differences, I suppose, with running a campaign post-pandemic?
Yes, first we had to put down all the campaigning for good to just like see where the world is going. Now we have the Happy Pro campaign to just tell about our region and all the possibilities, because companies still need a lot of talent. But we haven't been able to throw talent call type of campaigns to invite people here. But hopefully next year we will have Talent Call Southwest Finland, so talking about the cooperation. So that's going to be something to look forward to next year.
Yes, we can only hope.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think there's certainly, I know that the city's been running kind of welcome events as well for online for people. But there's just something, I guess, Nuppu, about being in the city is such a different experience to the kind of webinars and the virtual events.
of course, you miss the face-to-face connection, and it's totally different. But we've been lucky in the sense that Finland has had a relatively good situation with COVID, so it can also be a factor that is really appealing to many newcomers because, well, it comes to the safety. But of course, we're all hoping to get back into face-to-face business again as soon as possible because it's very important.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I never thought I would miss kind of getting on a plane and those cramped seats and the plane food, but now I think I'm quite desperate. I think that is now the end of our panel. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we will now move to our second panel, which will be looking at talent retention activities in Turku. And before that, we have a testimonial video for you, one of the ones we were mentioning earlier. So I hope you enjoy, and we'll see you after the video.
I am Megha Goswami and I'm a research assistant at Arctia and I'm from India. Finland seemed like a great option overall because of numerous reasons, one of them being gender equality. And I really liked the program, the study program that I'd selected, which is Molecular Biotechnology and Diagnostics track. I came here 2 years ago to pursue my master's in biomedical sciences. Before this, I was living in a big metropolitan city called Bangalore, and I am born in a city called Kolkata. These are both two of the biggest cities in India. There are thousands of students, and you're constantly competing to be the best. Studying in Finland is much more relaxed. It helps one really focus on what is important. I did my master's thesis for Arctia. My main role has been as a research assistant, and as a side role I also take care of some of their marketing work. Being at Arctia really changed my perspective of how a smaller company can have many benefits over a big company. It's really easy to expand one's role. The most motivating thing about working for Arctia is the purpose behind it, or the incentive of what we do. The fact that our test system is really helpful for patients in need. It helps someone who's ill receive their medication faster. That really works as the driving force behind what we do.
Arctia is an excellent example of collaboration in this region. When we were young researchers, we had a wonderful technology and some promising results. Some of the physicians at the TYKS University Hospital encouraged us to develop such a rapid test system as now is known as MaryPoc. Now we've been on the markets already 10 years and have a significant role in this business.
The diagnostics industry in Turku region has been flourishing over the last few decades. I believe that one of the main reasons is because the research is so strong at the universities here. I would also like to emphasize that since it's a student city, might be a great place to start your professional careers as a student, and then taking the next step as a professional into diagnostics companies or biotech or pharmaceutical companies.
Hi everyone, welcome back. This is our final panel discussion where we'll be talking about talent retention activities here in Turku. And I'm delighted to be joined by Arjan from the City of Turku and Lotta and Eva, who are from Turku Science Park, to discuss these issues with me. So maybe, Arjan, let's start with you. What kind of services does the City of Turku provide for newcomers? I understand that currently you are designing a digital welcome package. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the city offer generally and also about the innovative aspects of the digital welcome package.
Thank you for your question. We have, since last autumn, started this Welcome to Turku program for the newcomers, but not only, also for all those international talents that are based in our city very recently, or those international talents that are planning to come in Turku. Welcome to Turku program is a series of events, virtual or physical, if the pandemic situation allows it, that happens every other month. And we gather and organize these meetings in a thematical approach and discuss all those issues related to the settling in services and the everyday life here in Turku. And your second question was about the welcoming digital package. Well, allow me to start with this. First of all, it is about image. And it is about making our city Turku more attractive and more functional to our international talents, which is our target group. And we try to develop the digital services into a further level in our city, the English services provided by the City of Turku since the time of Tesla and Edison. Second, which is perhaps more important in concrete terms, it is about building a map of digital services provided by the City of Turku in English languages and offering it to our target group, aiming to save time and energy by only a couple of clicks and a couple of minutes to find the right service, the right path to find what they need, which means making everyday life easier for our target group and at the same time trying to improve in a future perspective what we call the digitalization of services in our city. And last but not least, in a future perspective, which is somehow related to the previous one, the aim is this digital welcoming package in English may serve as a cornerstone of our future international house Turku we are trying to build in our city. Hopefully everything will be okay with that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your answer. I think I mentioned in the Q&A with Pipa actually that it's really nice from an international perspective to see the building of services in the city, and certainly from when I arrived here 4 years ago, there are, when I arrived, I think I was reliant on kind of maybe just the general city website or like a Facebook group, but now to see this infrastructure kind of coming in real time, I think that's going to be really beneficial for new international and existing international talents here. But in addition to attracting new people from abroad, there's also a lot of work regarding matchmaking with local companies and existing talents here in Turku. Lotta, perhaps you could give a couple of examples about recent talent retention services here in Turku.
Yes, I'd love to. We are currently running the Empower Wednesday series for international talents here in Turku. And it has been very successful, over 600 participations by now, and the series is still going on. And we have in that series 13 events altogether, and the themes vary from networking to personal branding to roundtable with companies and entrepreneurship. So we cover a lot of aspects. And that is also a very good program for the spouses of the talents here in Turku. And that is facilitated in collaboration with the International Working Women of Finland, which is a very popular group to join. And we have a multi-talent here in Turku, an Italian Lucia Villermin, who is coordinating that with our Megumi Hayashi, who is a part of the Talent Turku team. So that is a very, very good series, and there will be future for that series also later on. And then maybe for the second example, I could mention the Study and Stay in Turku event, which we launched in 2019. And the first event was arranged here in Visitor Center Joki, and that was fully booked in 2 days. So there is a strong demand also from the international students to organize these kind of matchmaking events for the companies, or matchmaking events with the companies. And in that event, we had all the speakers on stage were international. So we had a panel discussion with international alumni from the universities. And yes,
I was an attendee at the Study and Stay event,
yes.
And it was very, very inspiring actually to see concrete examples of international talents who have kind of moved here and have managed to integrate and have managed to learn the language and have managed to build networks and livelihoods and kind of really integrate, I guess. It was quite kind of a really nice thing to see. I think from the student perspective, a lot of international master's students really enjoy their time here, but perhaps I know the universities do offer careers services, but perhaps there's just a kind of slight missing link that programs like these provide when it comes to kind of having those connections from the student right to the company. So I think those services are really important. And we'll cycle back to this, but speaking of international students, Eva, we have one here with us. So you are a PhD student at Åbo Academy, the Swedish-speaking university here in Turku. Perhaps you could say a little bit about your research topic, and then also maybe about how you found moving to Finland. Did you find it challenging did you have to adapt here, or could you just be yourself?
Oh yeah, thank you very much for this question. I will just briefly continue along the line of Lotta. So, I was also participating in Study and Stay in Turku as you are, and also being the part of the Empower Wednesdays. That was actually one of my most amazing experiences, because International Women of Finland and also Empower Wednesday managed to create such a feeling of belongings and also the feeling of being heard and listened, and such an interactive community, so I really liked it. And speaking about my research, currently I'm a PhD student at Åbo Academy, as you mentioned, and I'm writing about diversity and inclusion in our region, Southwest Finland. And I'm writing about it not only because I'm living here, but also because as an international student, I understand the challenges people face when they come to Finland and what they would like to have and how they feel Finland and how they want it to be accepted and heard, as I mentioned. So my idea is that with that research, I could increase the cooperation between talents, universities, and also the companies. And I came to Finland 6 years ago, and 6 years ago it was much more harder than now. And I just wanted to emphasize that Turku is interested in talents, and Turku is looking for the talents, and Turku is here in talents. So we just have to continue to work together. And yes, it was hard before, but now it's much more easier.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's really, really, really nice to hear those experiences. I'm just looking in the chat. We have a few comments coming through. Again, if you have any questions, please do get them in the chat, and we'll try and get as many as we can. I think we have a question from Lise. I apologise if I mispronounced that. Saying it's so important to have something for the spouses. And also are the Empower Wednesdays online and something that can be joined. I think maybe one of our colleagues will add that to the chat. I have attended a couple of the Empower Wednesday sessions, and I can also vouch that they are really, really worth going to. And just nice from this dual aspect, I suppose, the community side, like when you arrive here as a new talent, you want to kind of meet people, and then also the career side, and for international spouses in particular, I think that's important. Speaking of kind of digital events, so Arjan, you mentioned about the kind of welcome webinars. Could you explain a little bit more about perhaps how those came about and how you found them to be? Have they been kind of successful, and what have you thought about the webinars that the city?
Yes, absolutely. It has been a very positive experience this far. We have plenty of people participating from abroad, other continents also aiming to move to Turku in Finland for different reasons. which makes our thinking of going forward with this idea, and why not developing in the future the concept of Welcome to Turku series. So, however, we have been concentrated at the thematical level, as I told you before, only because there are some specific issues that remain crucial to our newcomers, the target group, the international talents aiming to move to Turku or moving to Turku or already moved to Turku, that are closely correlated with the everyday life. So for the moment we are concentrated in the settling in services and all those other services that directly are correlated with persons or families in their new city home city. So, but yeah, in future perspective, we have to take in consideration why not other aspects of the everyday life that they may need here, such as employment and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And kind of speaking about kind of the future then, so Lotta, you were talking about some of the initiatives that have been going on in the kind of past 12 months or so, the Empower Wednesdays and the Study and Stay. Are there any new projects in the pipeline at all? Is there anything coming up for international talents here?
Thanks for asking. Yes, we have new projects actually targeted to international and doctoral candidates and postdocs of the universities of Turku, Åbo Academy and the University of Turku. And the aim of that is to matchmake them with the local companies, and especially those talents who are interested in a career outside the academia. So that will be launched in the autumn, in a couple of months. So keep an eye on that program. It's called UNICOM, Uniting Companies and International Talents.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm sure yes. Our colleagues can put some information in the chat about that as well. Thinking about kind of the sort of talent, I guess, retention and the ability of international talents to kind of integrate into Finnish society, I guess language is also something that kind of comes up. So Eva, I guess your PhD is in Swedish or English?
Well, it's actually in English. Mm-hmm. And I understand this problem with the Finnish language. I mean, like, there is no problem with the language, but I guess the problem is in biased perception of it. Mm-hmm. So someone is just, well, having this assumption that Finnish is the language that you cannot learn, or if you don't speak Finnish, you better not go out, and yeah, or something like this. I mean, like, it's totally possible to manage in English in this country, but from the point of view to respect Finland and to understand the heart of Finland, you have to learn Finnish, and of course you can also learn Swedish.
Yeah, I think for many people it's meant to be that Swedish is perhaps a little bit easier depending on your native tongue, although
might be.
It's tricky to say. I learned Finnish. I have been learning Finnish for a number of years, and then I took a beginner's Swedish class, and I was totally confused and kind of wanted to go back. Arjan, I don't know if you can maybe speak to the language as someone who has a very strong command of the Finnish language. Is there anything that you can add to the importance of Finnish language?
Yes, there are three things very extremely important to take in consideration while moving to Finland, or planning to move to Finland, or already moved to Finland and planning to stay. First of all, it is language, because without it, well, you can manage somehow to find something in the context of international companies or something like that. But if you really want to be part of the Finnish society and community life, you have to learn Finnish. You have to learn because you have to be Turkulainen. The second most important thing is language, because without it you can't do anything. If you want to compare yourself with your future kids, let's say with your future children, if you have a family, they will learn Finnish very quickly in their elementary school or preschool system, and you will feel ashamed. The third most important thing is language, because, come on, what you can do in Finland, living in Finland, paying taxes in Finland, and not learning it. It's pity. So these three things. However, I have to add in this context, apart the funny part of it, everything depends on your own motivation. How do you spend your time? The level of your own motivation you have in order to learn Finnish is about your future planning. Where do you see yourself? And I do know you, as a British speaker, perhaps you may have a lower level of self-motivation in order to learn in front of other things. However, you can find everything in English. You go everywhere, you can talk to English. Everybody replies to you in English, which makes things very difficult for English-speaking persons, but not for others. I suppose that other foreigners speaking other languages have to avoid somehow the English language and jump step by step to the Finnish practicalities, let's say, like that. And I'm positive in the sense that if the level of your self-motivation is quite high, you can manage to learn Finnish in a couple of years if you're lucky and if you have a good support from your circumstances, let's say. However,
that's a very, very ambitious goal. Well, I think that's good because I think certainly from the outside, Finnish has this reputation of being very difficult. But certainly, my Finnish is not perfect by any means, but it is possible to make progress very quickly. We're running out of time, but we do have a couple of audience questions. We have one from Suzanne. Thank you, Suzanne, from International Citizen Hub Lund, who's asking who is involved in and responsible for our amazing programs. Is it just there's the city and the science park, but who are the other stakeholders? Maybe Lotta, you can talk about who's involved in these projects.
Yes, the city and science park are facilitating the Talent Turku network, but we of course have a wide network working with us and the whole Talent Turku ecosystem with the various of actors. And all of these programs are run with a large collaboration with the other organizations too.
And maybe kind of a follow-on to that, Arjan, maybe you could take the lead on this one. How is Turku's relationship with surrounding cities in terms of their talent and business attraction? Do you kind of have counterparts that you liaise with in Tampere or Helsinki or Oulu? Or do you kind of mostly focus on the Turku branding?
This is a very good question from the strategical point of view. Well, we are not competing with any city around. Helsinki is Helsinki and Tampere is Tampere. But Turku is Turku. And we have a strong concentration of international talents in all these three areas, in the Helsinki, or the capital area, in Tampere, which is the second largest city in Finland, and Turku, the historical capital of Finland. And I have to say that, however, Turku is quite in a common, in a common place in front of these two other cities, because first of all we have the privilege of having two universities in two different languages, Finnish and Swedish, which you cannot find in Tampere, for example. In Tampere you can find other things, but in Turku we have this level of multiculturalism, perhaps more vivid, if you want. Apart Helsinki, Turku still is a very strong competitor in that sense. I would say. So, and I do believe that in the years to come, in the future, we will have even a stronger concentration of international talents in the Turku area, for many reasons. Perhaps times is not allowing us to.
No, sadly, I think
expand,
we are. But I think that's
there are many reasons. Yeah,
I think that's a really, really positive ambition and indeed kind of a positive note to end on, because I think we've come to the end of the panel here. But thank you so much for your time. I'll just check. I think that last question we had was from Baha K, so thank you very much. I think we're out of questions from the chat, out of time. So again, huge thank you to Lotta, to Arjan, and to Eva for
Thank you.
all of your interesting questions and comments. I really hope you've enjoyed the panel discussions we've had here today. I know that with the technical issues, the recording will be available. Thank you so much for your time and your engagement through the chat. And let's now go back to Anna for the closing words.
So thank you everybody for being with us today. I at least had a great fun, and hopefully you too. And I just have to say that it really shows that we are really like down-to-earth people, and one key to Finland's success in talent attraction is the low hierarchy in the society, and also the good cooperation between cities and regions. I really believe that that is something we can take advantage of, since we are a small country and a rather small nation, but still with a big heart, and aren't we the happiest people on the planet Earth? Somebody mentioned something about difficulties in learning Finnish language, so I give you a little phrase. You can start a small talk session whenever you will come to Finland and Turku. So it's a sentence that has been voted to be one of the most beautiful phrases in Finnish, and it goes like this: aja hiljaa sillalla. So please repeat after me: aja hiljaa sillalla. And once more: aja hiljaa sillalla. That means drive slowly on the bridge. Now I'm interested in Morten's opinions of the day. What was maybe one or two key points that is in your mind after today's discussions?
Thank you, Anna. I think I've been listening, and I'm so excited to hear everything that's going on in Turku. And I think key point number one is this is initially maybe overwhelming all the different aspects of talent attraction and retention. So there's a strong need for local, regional, and even national collaboration. I think it's fantastic to see how you succeeded in that. And I think my second comment would then to be, even though you are somewhat small, Turku is smaller, of course, than the capital and other metropolis around Europe, you can still make an impact, and you can still go in and do a difference and attract and retain international talent. So it can be done. And I'm in awe, and a warm congratulations to a dream team of Turku for being fantastic and sharing your insights here today.
Thank you very much, everybody, for today.